right, guys, you've been asking for it. A lot of performance bagger questions, where to start, what to do. We have a real clean one right behind me we just buttoned up for a customer. I just want to go over the suspension, handlebar setup, the motor and exhaust we put on this setup. Really nice, clean. You know, you can do just the suspension, the handlebars on this bike, you can do just the motor in it, or you can do exactly what this customer did. So behind me, brand new 2020 Road Glide Special, decked out. First thing we're gonna go over are the bar setup, because that's the one we probably get the most questions out of is, hey, what's the right setup for me? What do I need? I like the gauges mounted up top. I want them to be very comfortable for long rides. I want them to feel really good in the corners. I do not want my radial blocked, and that's exactly the concerns of this customer. So on this setup, we have the Kraus ERG bar setup, which ERG is short for ergonomics. They wanted these to be able to be adjustable so they can match the ergonomics of the rider, okay? And how they've done that is with this bracket right here. It's an all aluminum bar setup, and these 3 bolts right here can be loosened, and it allows us to change the pitch of the bar back to the rider. So you can sweep them in a little bit, you can push them out straight depending on your comfort and your style. Also going with this bar setup, the traditional fly bar has about a 2.5 rise. This guy's about a 4.5 rise. With the 4.5 rise, it allows it to sweep down here more. It gives us more room between the top of the riser and the radio. When we have more room there, we're able to angle the gauges a little more towards your face and tuck them down so you can see the radio and the gauges. So I mean, I'm seeing the gauge all the way to where my finger is. The top of my finger is what I'm able to see. I'm 5'11". If you're taller than me, you're gonna be able to see a little bit more. The radio as well, I'm seeing about 85% of my screen. Just the little bottom of that screen is actually blocked by the top of the gauges. It's a clean setup, and these aren't kickback, they're straight. We also can do that with a kickback. When I kick it back, it gives me more room from here to here to tuck the gauges in, and in sight of line, I can put my gauges right about where they are as well and pull them closer to the rider. So if you need them closer to you, we're going to do a kickback down here with the bars. There's probably about 50 or 60 different configurations we do, depending on the rider. They have a couple brackets like the TX plate where instead of the kickbacks, we do them down here, or we can do the kickback in the riser themselves. Once again, we like the Kraus risers because they are hard mounted to the top of the triple tree. The polyurethane riser bushing is then moved right under the bars, just like factory. So from the factory where your bars are mounted, down here, your rubber is right below the clamps of the bar. So they've done the same thing Harley did from the factory. Instead of a regular rubber bushing, these come stock with polyurethane riser bushings built in to the riser. Something else you see down here, the Wolf 1 triple tree. The Wolf 1 triple tree, it just looks good because we're taking the stock nacelle, you're taking the stock plastic gauge cover off of the Road Glide. When you leave the unfinished triple tree from Harley down there, it's not as clean of a look as this. It is a little bit more money. You're gonna have to dig in the pocket a little harder, but when it's finished, it's just such a clean look. And a lot of guys are calling us and they're like, hey, we wanna do that setup. What do we do with our ignition switch? You put it in your toolbox for if you ever sell your bike and put it back to stock. We don't need it anymore. So when we do this setup, this guy is no longer needed. This function right here is now converted. We program it just like a CVO. So now this button, watch this, we're gonna hit this guy. The gauges, the startup sequence is gonna start, boom. The gauges do their swipe, you're ready to go. It's that easy. That just took the place of this guy. On, off, boom, turns off. This guy also handles your fork lock. So with this being removed, you no longer have the pin in the bottom here that goes into your frame to lock the fork. So Kraus has a really cool setup. You turn your bars to the left, it's keyed, bars are locked. I just fork locked my bike. So a key is provided from Kraus with that setup. Boom, key goes in, you unlock it, you're good to go. So you're able to have the same exact function you had from the factory, now just done a little differently, more clean, better look.